Oh, hello, friend. Friends, I guess. Friends. What's up? It's Whiskey Wednesday with Dave. It's been a month or so. Um, I have good reason. I have good reason for that. But hello to everybody watching live. Hello to everybody that might be tuning in tomorrow or in a week or a month. Hope you're all doing great out there. My name is Dave. I'm the owner of Papers and Games, designer of Distilled, co-designer of Luthier. Really excited about tonight because we've got a special event tonight that we're going to get to unveil the brand new, fresh off the press, well, digitally speaking on the screen, cover box art for Luthier. But before we get to that, we got some other things to talk about first. As you can see right here, if you are tuning in on Facebook, please be sure to go to streamyard.com/Facebook. And that way I can actually see your name. Otherwise, I won't know. It'll just say Facebook user, and I actually won't know who is commenting. And I can't say, great, thank you. Like, for instance, Doc Chills tuning in on YouTube. Hello, Dave. What tequila am I drinking? Come on, Paulie. Seriously? Look, it's like a minute in, and I'm already getting harassed by my friends and fans. Paulie's a great guy. He loves to give me crap about tequila being better than whiskey, but I'd like to hear other people put in the comments if they believe that tequila is better than whiskey. I tonight am drinking a little bit of Deanston. I picked this up last time. I was over in Scotland with my good friend Richard. He was there too, toured this one. This is a cask strength organic PX hogshead. It's delicious. I'm about, I don't know, a third of the way, half the way through it. It's a good malt. It's way too flavorful for what it is. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But post in the chat what you're drinking. Hey, Jamie, a little brandy old fashioned. True Wisconsinite right there, Jamie. Proud to see that. So thanks for posting that. We've got even Paulie is having a little Don Julio. That's good. I respect that. A good tequila, a good mezcal, especially. I can get behind that for sure. So feel free to post that in the chat, what you're drinking. That could be a soda pop. That could be a milk, a water, a whiskey, a beer, whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles your fancy. But I'm going to get started. I've got a lot of different things to go over tonight. A lot of fun stuff to show you as well. It's been a little bit quiet on the Papers and Games front. At least I feel like it has been, because we've been our heads down, focusing hard on kind of finishing up the whole Luthier game, as well as getting the cask strength out. A lot of you have gotten that to the table. I'd love to hear what you think of that. Feel free to put in the comments. That's designed by Richard Woods, our developer for Distill, but now designer for the expansion, the mini expansion cask strength. That's available on the website. We're going to be able to get that this year at the cons. So lots of fun stuff. I see. Sarah's having some. Sarah says whiskey owns tequila. That's right, Sarah. Well done. Well put. Put Paul in his place. We got someone else drinking Glenlivet. I'm not sure who it is. Again, if you want to, be sure you go to streamyard.com/Facebook. Facebook just doesn't allow you to have it. It's a privacy thing. So if you do that, then I can see who you are. But don't worry if you don't want to. That's all good too. So anyway, I get distracted, as you can see easily. I love it when people are tuning in and chatting with me on the stream. But let's get started. So, like I said, we've got a lot of stuff. My head's been down, working hard. Believe me, every day when I come home from my normal job, I'm working basically, and Emily upstairs can attest to this, and my kids, I'm working from like 5 to 11 o'clock at night, every night, on the weekends too, trying to get Luthier done. Believe it or not, people, I'm not kidding here. Luthier, as far as like visuals, is ready. Like we've sent it off to the manufacturer for the prototype. Obviously, there's still lots to do, still things to change, get feedback from fans. But I'm really excited. We worked really hard. It's kind of the flip side of Distilled. We did that. I made that choice on purpose so that once the Kickstarter ends, I can go as fast as I can to turn around and try and get that manufacturer and get it back to you. So you don't need to wait as long. So again, it's exciting stuff, lots of hard work, but it's paying off. And I'm going to share some of that with you tonight. We got Bob, final 2 fingers of the Balvenie. Yeah, nice and delicious stuff there. Chris is on call. That's okay. It's good. You're doing the right responsible thing. And yeah, Sarah mentions that my Deanston is lovely, rich flavor. Man, I just can't. when I tasted this at the distillery, I toured the distillery. I just couldn't believe it. Like the flavor of this thing, 2009. So it's what is that? I'm not good at math. What 13? Well, 13 years now. When I bought it, 12 or 11 years old. Man, the flavor in this thing. I mean, when you get a PX, which means it's a sherry cask, of course you're going to get some extra flavor on that too. But you're totally right, Sarah. Some crazy, crazy flavor. So I've been busy with that. I've also been busy with conferences. I went to a conference in in March, Gamma. It's the Game Manufacturers Conference, so it's very much a kind of industry-led conference. I got a chance to tour a lot of distilleries because it was in Kentucky. So I had a chance to tour the distilleries with my friend Matt Carlson. I'm just going to go through my Facebook post really quick, just because there's a couple of really great shots. I went to my favorite, one of my favorite, maybe my favorite American whiskey Maker's Mark, and got a special tour there, which is pretty amazing. I even got to dip a bottle. This bottle, whoops, where is it? This bottle in there, and that was kind of fun. I did the touristy thing, which was kind of fun there too. So lots, and Maker's Mark was gorgeous. I mean, if anyone's ever toured a Scottish distillery, you can probably agree that this kind of feels almost like, besides it not being white, it feels like a Scottish distillery. So it was an amazing time spending with Matt, especially touring Maker's Mark. But got to really go through a lot of cool stuff. There's a Chihuly installation there too. I also toured some more modern distilleries like Angel's Envy, Old Forester. I even went to, let's see if this shows us this one here. Yeah, I stuck my fingers in the mash. Went to Beam, so I did some sellout too. Went to Beam also. So I went to lots of different places. We toured modern distilleries, older distilleries. Man, they couldn't hold a candle to the Scottish distilleries. I'm not kidding. But it still was fun. It was a good time. And just wanted to share that with you. I finally have gotten a chance to tour some American distilleries, because up until this point, it's really been more Scottish distilleries. So that's what I've been up to. A couple other things I want to talk about really quick. And again, feel free to post your name in the chat. Let us know what you're drinking, what you're having tonight. Say hi. Please even just say hi. And as always, be sure, if you are watching on Facebook, to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so I can see who you are. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to some other news. Some other things I just wanted to make sure people knew. First off is that I'm going to be at 3 different cons this summer. The first one's going to be UK Games Expo. So this is May 31st through June 2nd. This is obviously over in the UK. My good friend Richard, and developer and designer as part of Paverson Games, is going to be there, as well as a bunch of my friends that have helped out last year are going to be there too. So if you happen to be over the UK, please stop by. We've got a massive booth this year. We're going to be showing off Luthier. We're going to be showing off cask strength with distilled. So some really great time. You're going to get a chance even to sign up and play some games too with us. So please stop by, say hi, get a picture, all that stuff. That's May 31st through June 2nd. So I'll be over in the UK for that. Then after that, a ways after that, I'm going to be at Gen Con Indy. We've got a booth there too. And we're running tons of games. Like, I'm talking a ton of games. If you want to play distilled cask strength, or Luthier, we're going to have a bunch of games. So be sure to keep an eye on the events page to be able to sign up for that and grab it, because I have a feeling some of those might go a little bit quick. Hey, Marcia, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. And so be sure, again, if you're going to think about Gen Con Indy, swing by, say hi to me at the booth, but also just know we are posting some events, and there's a good chance that we are going to get to show off a bunch of stuff. And you remember, and I'll give you a little sneak peek, this is going to be a good time to think about it. Well, I'm not going to say anything else. We'll stop there. We'll go on here. Last but not least, I am very excited. I am going to be going to Essen. Paverson Games will be at Essen this year, Spiel Essen, over in Germany. That's October 3rd through 6th. So if you happen to be in Europe or in Germany specifically, do know that we're going to have a booth there. Again, Distilled and Luthier will be there available to play. So good chance to kind of meet you there, especially if I didn't get a chance to meet you in the UK. Those are 3 of the biggest, if not the biggest, game shows in the world. Tokyo Game Show is a pretty big one, or Tokyo Toy Fair, whatever it's called. PAX is pretty big too, but these 3 I've really want to get a chance to really experience all of these. And yes, I agree. That's awesome. awesomely expensive. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this yet, but we'll see. But I'm really excited, and I'm excited to see these massive shows. I've heard that like 4 Gen Cons can fit inside Spiel Essen, so it's Spiel Essen, I should say. So exciting stuff. All right, let's move on. So next thing I want to talk about really quick is a plug for Distilled, and then it's going to be all Luthier all the time, people. So I hope you're okay. Tuck in for that. I do want to let everybody know that right now, in fact, let me back up. The Golden Geek Award nominations are on right now. In fact, boop, 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 boop. Let's see. I'm going to post the link in the chat. The Golden Geek Awards are an annual award where you can nominate a game or games for different awards. And I would like to encourage all of you to consider perhaps putting forward Distilled. I've put it forward for a bunch of different categories. You can see on the right there. Mainly, though, the big ones, artwork, to really shine off Eric's amazing artwork. This African Middle East expansion as well. But the big ones, I think, medium game of the year, but probably the one I'm really hoping to try and push for is thematic game. You can do that by clicking on that link. I'm going to be spreading the word over the next couple of weeks. It's really important right now. It's just nominations. It's not voting yet. They nominate, that gets them down to a smaller list. And would absolutely love if you wouldn't mind putting forward your stuff. Thanks, Doc Chills. Thanks, Paulie, for putting us forward for Distilled. So please put forward your other favorite games. As you can see, there is a ridiculous amounts of games. I don't know if it says, but it looks like thousands. I think it's anything that was released in 2023, I think is how BGG does it. So again, Board Game Geek, if you have an account, hopefully you can go over and vote for that. So give that a try. Thanks, Marcia, for that support. And again, I'll be pushing this out into social media. I'd love it if you wanted to share this as well, just as many nominations as we can get out there. Wouldn't it be so fun to see Distilled pop up on some sort of finalist or award voting list. So there's that. Okay. All right. So got to take a drink here. I'm got to keep up here. I'm talking too fast. Got to slow down, Dave. Got to slow down. Be sure to put your name in the comments or say hi. Tell us what you're drinking. I didn't talk about these just quickly. These are the 3 spirits I got when I was in Kentucky. I got Old Forester 117 series. They released this, and it sells out within like 2 hours. And somehow I got it because I was on a tour, and they let me then get a chance to have a bottle, which was pretty cool. Maker's Mark, like I said, this is a distillery edition, which basically it's a nice kind of blend between, or not a blend, but a finishing. In this case, oak staves to finish this. So really nice flavors there, flavor profile there. And I dip that with myself. And then, in all honesty, and so this is Blanton's for anyone that's like a whiskey fan out there. I believe it's actually pretty overrated. I've tasted it. It's good, but it's not like anything that blows me away. It's kind of one of those things like, hey, now I can say I've got a Blanton's bottle. So it's kind of like I don't know. It's just kind of cheesy, but I'm a tourist, and same thing. The only reason I was able to get that was I happened to be on the tour that day. They had already sold out, but anyone with the tour at Buffalo Trace was able to get a bottle of that. So that was fun. So I came home with those 3. And then, I would encourage all of you to think about this. If you ever go to a distillery, when you go, don't buy something you can buy in the store. That's ridiculous, right? So find something that's special to that distillery, something that will help you remember that on occasion as well. So Saxon, awesome. Yeah, little Highland Cask. Ooh, yeah, cask strength, Highland Park. Nice stuff. So yeah, exactly, Marcia. It's a trophy whiskey, pretty much, especially with the horse on the top. A little known fact for those that don't know. Oh no, I just noticed my head fell off. Look, my horse. I don't know if it's going to focus. My my horse rider's head was decapitated. Oh, isn't that just great? But most people don't know that there's Blanton, Blanton spells out each horse is a different one, kind of in a different stride. So, the hardcores try and collect the whole Blanton line, which is kind of crazy. So anyway, yeah, that's right. A couple people said the Headless Horseman. That's right. It totally is. I'll have to drink that around Halloween time. I just noticed that. That is really funny. Well, that shows you it's probably not metal, some sort of cheap. Well, maybe it's metal. Who knows? Whatever. All right. Okay. So here's the deal. I hyped it up about, tonight we're going to be announcing or revealing Luthier's cover. And we are. I've got it right in front of me on this screen right here. I can see it. You can't. I'm just looking at it and it's like, oh, it's great. Oh, wonderful. And maybe I'll share it with you if you're nice. No, but seriously, I've been waiting a long time for this. This is really exciting. For those that don't know, Luthier is the follow-up to Distilled. It's our next game that we're creating and publishing from Paverson Games. This game is a co-design between Abe Burson and myself. I met Abe a couple of years ago, actually, 4 years ago now, and played the game, then followed up with him a couple of years later. He had been working on it for like 10 years. And I said, hey, what if I co-design with this with you and published it? I'm going to kind of rip it down to the studs, rebuild it. We're going to come out with this together. What do you think? Thematic game about crafting instruments in the golden age of classical music. He was on board. He was really excited. And so we've been working on it. Richard and I have been working really hard on this. Richard and David Digby are doing the design for the solo mode together. I hired on Vincent Dutrait to do all the artwork for the game as well. And that's been a phenomenal experience. Vincent is just amazing. I want to work with him for everything. He really thinks about everything he does, every single brushstroke. And I think that's one thing I want to really emphasize here is that another reason I was drawn to Vincent as like a artist designer myself, but also in the age of AI, in the age of everything computer generated, the thought of someone is crafting this stuff by hand, painting it, coloring it in, sketching it out really speaks to me. Really speaks to me, and especially for a game like like Luthier, where it's about crafting things by hand. That's really important to me. So we've been working over the last year, I'd say, about that. Working over the last year on the artwork. He's still got some way to go because we've got about 40 different historical portraits to do. About 20 or 15 to 20 different instruments to paint, lots and lots of other stuff. And I'm going to show you some of it tonight. And of course, the box. Now, the box is something that generally people like to reveal right away. Hey, here's the box. We don't know what the game's going to be yet, but hey, look at this cool box. I really wanted to make sure that this box was informed by the game so that when you see this box, it kind of speaks to you about maybe what the game is about. I mean, to a certain degree, on a certain level. Represents the sophistication perhaps of the game, represents that handcraftedness, that idea of kind of drawing on history. And Vincent really was also one of the ones that advocate saying, you know what, I like to get to know this game first before we work on the box. So let's do that. Let's continue to work through this game. I work with Matt Paquette and company as the graphic designers for the game. So between Matt and his crew, Vincent and me working on this, we came up with what we think is a pretty great box. And it's funny because it actually is somewhat close. I mean, the general idea is somewhat close to an idea I had way back like a year and a half ago. And I didn't show that to Vincent. But he really worked on this and I gave him some feedback. He continued to work on it. And so here it is. I'd like to share the box for Luthier with you. Again, made by Vincent Dutrait. The artwork is all done by Vincent Dutrait. And here it is to reveal to you the box for Luthier. Here we go. Drum roll. There it is. So this is we're really excited. This is again kind of trying to encapsulate that idea of the handcrafted quality, the sophistication of the idea of the game. We really wanted to have that idea of kind of hands, you almost trompe l'oeil, you almost like working with it, working on the violin yourself with your hands. You imagine yourself as the luthier there, referencing that's a little bit kind of like a nod to Stradivari in the top left. We don't really know what he looks like, but that's kind of the idea. A young Beethoven on the top right. Clara Schumann is actually playing the piano there. On the left, we've got some other people. I'll show you that in a second too. Now, we're really excited about this. It's a gorgeous piece. And Vincent really worked hard on this, and you can't, and it's not doing it justice here necessarily, but you can see a little, I don't know, let's see if you can see my mouse. Yeah, you can. You can see kind of some sketches of some scroll work there, people, hand working on scroll, someone working on a cello on the top right as well. So we really wanted to kind of communicate that idea that generations of people working on this, different instruments, different types, different people, all kind of communicating that same idea of a handmade object. Now, I'm going to show you, this is not Luthier, the box, because we're getting that kind of done right now. But to give you an idea of the size of it, it is going to be about this size. Okay, so this is a Lacerda box, or Vital Lacerda's Lisboa. It's going to be about this size of a box. So it's a fairly significant size box. It is not, I should have brought, well, here, actually, hey, it's right here. Here's Ticket to Ride. And here is Lisboa. So if I hold the two up next to each other, that gives you an idea. That's how much Lisboa sticks up above Ticket to Ride. Okay. Maybe that's better. There you go. So it's going to be a pretty substantial box. The reason for this, of course, is that we've got a really big board in the center. We've got player boards. We've got player chips. We've got lots of cards. But we also don't want to exude that idea of sophistication, of kind of crunchy strategy. So we're really excited about that as well. So this is the box. I'm going to probably start releasing this tomorrow. I would love it if you see me releasing it, feel free to share it with others too. I just want everyone to see how gorgeous this piece is. Really excited about this too. I've got a couple different renders here too. So I kind of like the black, but I would love to hear what you all think. We've got kind of like just a gray. Obviously that helps some of the colors pop a little bit more, or perhaps not make it as high contrast. You can start to see some of that too. So I've got a render with the darker gray and then one with the lighter gray. And I think it's between maybe the dark gray or the black that I'm going to go with. Feel free to leave in the comments what you think. Do you like the black, the dark gray, or the light gray? And that'll be helpful, actually. If all of you say one over one of the other ones, that'll be really helpful for me to know. So feel free to put in the comments kind of what you think between black, dark gray, and light gray. So those again are those. Does it let me go through them? No, I got to do it by hand. So there's that dark gray and there's that black. So yeah, some great stuff. I see people talking about black, making it pop more. I see some other people talking about medium gray too. I respect Bob because he knows color better than most. So it might be that Vincent even actually said to me that, you could use this for different occasions. Like sometimes you'll use black, sometimes you'll use dark gray. So maybe tomorrow when we initially throw it out there, it might be black to really hit it. I keep thinking about like black tie affair, tuxedo, that kind of feel maybe is nice in this, especially when we first announce it. But yeah, regardless, very excited about this. In just a second, I'm going to show you all the size of the box on the front so you can get a peek for that and how you can envision it. It doesn't look nearly as good as this, but it gives you an idea of kind of how that will look on your shelf, like you said, Chris. So yeah, that's the box. The next thing I want to do, and we can come back to the box in a second. Next thing I want to do is talk about when the heck is this coming out? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about when we're launching this. I've always said summer, and I've always said that I wanted to. Largely, the reason I choose summer, as some of you know, is that I work in a university, and during the school year, it's just insane. Summer's a little bit lighter, I'm actually stepping. I don't know if I've told everyone this. I'm stepping down from my position as director for the School of Art and Design, which usually works 12 months a year. And I'm going back to teaching full time, which I'm really excited about. And what that is going to allow me to do is have my summers off so I can work a little bit more in games and go to conventions. So what that means is I have some more time this summer to really focus on Luthier, focus on the launch as well. Now, for those that might not remember or know, we launched Distilled in July 6th. No, July. Geez, that's bad. I think it's July 6th of 2021. So we launched that. So that's about 3 years ago. I wanted to be sure to launch it as close to that as possible. I just felt like that would be a fun thing to do. we are pretty close to that, and I'm proud. I'm excited to announce that we are going to launch Luthier on Kickstarter on July 16th this year. So I want you to keep that in mind. Keep an eye out on that. Put a marker in your calendar. It's already the Kickstarter is already up. In fact, nope, I'm not going to leave this site because that would ruin me there. The Kickstarter page is already there. I'm going to try and get that. It's making me log in. I'll do that later. The Kickstarter page is already live. If someone can post it in the chat, awesome. Thank you. But again, July 16th is when we're going to launch. Why this is also kind of fun is because I decided on, I'll tell you everybody right now, my plan was to launch on, what would that have been, July 9th? July 9th, Tuesday, July 9th. That was my plan because it was like, that's as close as I can get to 3 years ago. And then I looked at the calendar and I was like, wait a minute. If I launch on July 9th, I like to do like a 3 week and 2 day campaign. I thought, wait a minute. If I do that, I'm going to end the Kickstarter on the day Gen Con starts, which seems kind of ridiculous. I might as well run it through through Gen Con. So what I'm going to do is by launching on July 16th, it's going to go until the Thursday after Gen Con. So Gen Con will end on a Sunday, and this will end on a Thursday after that. That will allow people to see it there, play it there, decide if they want to back it or not as well. I thought that's a much better way to allow for people to kind of think about the game as well. So that's also the good news, is that it's going to be live on Kickstarter during Gen Con, which I think is going to be equal parts stressful and exciting. So that's kind of cool too. So yeah, again, launching on Kickstarter July 16th. You're probably going to start to see advertisements for Luthier and all that jazz as well as we start to ramp up to that. But anyway, so that's exciting stuff. But I'm not done yet. I want to talk about a couple other things, if that's okay. Let me pull up my screen here again. There we go. The other thing I wanted to talk about, well, actually, I can just pull this down for a second, is that as people know from the Kickstarter or from Distilled, I really like to be as transparent as possible with my fans, my community. So what I'm going to do now is, throughout this process, I'm going to show you a little bit of this. I thought it'd be neat to show you some of the previewers I'm planning to send this to. I'm hoping to, where I reach out to them ahead of time, send them a copy of the game. They can play it and be able to give their thoughts before the Kickstarter. So I've got that up to show you my list. I've got, whoops, there. Oops, no, you don't see anything. Just a second. There we go. So this is my spreadsheet that I've put together of different, in this case, different previewers, Luthier previewers. I've got other ones that I look at too, but for Luthier, for the preview, and this is what I've got here. You can see at the very top, I'm really hoping to have Ryan do the Knights Around the Table, do the tutorial again. He did that for Distilled. I thought it was just phenomenal. So I'm excited to do that again. And then I'm listing other ones as well. And so these are kind of starting to, some other names that come to my mind right away, like Dice Tower, Rado, Man vs. Meeple, those type of people. And then it continues to go. We're talking Instagram, podcasts, online written reviews and previews. So if you don't see a name here, I'm going to scroll through this because it's pretty long. Let me know. This doesn't mean I'm sending it to every single person, but it does mean that I'm considering these people. I would love it if you could all post your thoughts. I see someone says Hope Purple Moose plays. I think Carl is on this list, perhaps. So again, as you can see, I've got lots of different. Yeah, there it is. There's Purple Moose plays. So I'm thinking about reaching out to lots of different people here. I won't connect with every single person. Bob, Jack doesn't see his name. Funny, nice. So again, lots of different ones to think about: interviews, previews, podcasts. Some are in Canada, some are in the US, some are overseas. If you have someone that you particularly love, you think is a great content creator, especially for previews that are open to that, please post it in the chat. I'd love to consider them as well. And again, there's so many here. It doesn't mean I'm going to be doing every one. I can't afford to do that. Even some I've just got, links here too. Some don't even do it. Like Shut Up and Sit Down doesn't do previews, but I put some of these down. Some of these are left over from my Distilled campaign too, when I thought about it as well. some Instagram ones, some that are doing specific languages as well. So kind of all over the place as far as different content creators. Good Lord, what do I have? 100, almost 150 different content creators. I will not be sending to 150, but it's a great way to kind of give you an idea of what it's like. So again, if you have a content creator that you love, I would love to see you post that in the chat, and maybe I can reach out to them as well if you think they'd be a good fit for Luthier and Papers and Games. All right. Last but not least, I thought it would be fun to show you a little bit of the components that we've been working on and putting forward to print. The first one I thought I'd show, this is kind of a preview. This will work. This is the player board. This is the red player board. Each colored player board is going to be a little bit different. I think maybe I've shown this in the past, but maybe not. But this is a board that will sit right in front of you that's supposed to represent your workshop. You can see that there's spots to be able to place your two workers face down. Here you'll put a portrait of your Luthier's family as well. You'll put cards down. You'll have cubes. This is going to be, for a deluxe version, will be double-sided. And this is where you store your resources as well. So lots of fun stuff going on here. You've got your roughing and your finishing bench on the sides. And then just as a point of contrast, now this I mocked up a couple months ago for PAX, for Gamma. So this is a little old now. There's a couple things that have changed. But here you can see kind of what it would look like kind of mid-game. And yes, Saxon, yes, it's dual layer for deluxe. The deluxe version of the game will be dual layered. So again, I'm just mocking this up in Photoshop. This is not a photograph or a render or anything like that. But you can see that there'd be chips laying around. You'd be placing, like I said, your family portrait here. You might have some different patrons you're trying to court, holding some resources as well. You might have some goals that you're working on. You see on the left side, you have some money. We have got something in the game called inspiration that you use as well. It's kind of like a wild currency. So this is just a glimpse. I just wanted to show you this as a glimpse into what the game might look like. Again, mocked up, kind of, I'd say mid-game, if you will. So again, your player board starts to get more populated and filled with and busy with things that you're working on as well. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the next thing. Like I said, I thought it would be fun to show you just a couple other things here. The first one is this is the box art, what it looks like when we send it to the factory, where we tell them where certain things are going to be folded or cut. You can see the front of the box here that we just saw on the side of the box. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Just a second. Sorry, everybody. There we go. So the side of the box, you can see we've got Mozart, Caccini, who is a famous lutist, on the left there. Nothing is 100% final, but it's pretty close, especially for the art. But for the graphic design, we'll probably still tweak some stuff for sure. On the right-hand side, we've got a harpsichord and a timpani. On the bottom, just like we did with Distilled, which is Stark, we just have the name Luthier as well. So again, there's a glimpse into kind of the entire front of the box. Let's get back there, see if that fits. Almost. There you go. So you can kind of see how that works out as well. Now, this is where it's kind of exciting because we actually have the entire rule book done. Now, again, and we have lots of things done. And when I say done, I don't want you to think it's done like, oh, this thing could be printed and show up on my table tomorrow. No, not necessarily. We still need to copy edit some of this stuff. We still need to rearrange stuff. We might end up changing things based on play tests in the future months, perhaps. We've done most of that now, but you never know. There might be a tweak here or there. But I thought it would be fun to show you the rule book really quick, because I got to say the rule book is like, it's chef's kiss over and over. Lots and lots of kisses. It's pretty amazing. Saxon asked, will it cap at 4 players? Right now, we are really kind of considering this a 1 to 4 player game, just due to the complexity, the table space for right now, especially for what we release. Initially, it's definitely going to be 1 to 4 players. Good question, Saxon. But just to scroll through the rule book really quickly, again, kind of some opening remarks. Component layout, you can see there lots of different components. now this is really exciting. Here's what the main board's going to look like. It's a big board. Let me zoom in just a little bit there for setup. So this is showing you how it's set up. It's a beautiful big board done by another artist in partnership with Vincent. Guillaume really worked hard on, Guillaume Tavernier created just a gorgeous scene here that's kind of like an orchestra hall, concert hall. And then Vincent came and finished this off. You can see it's kind of a typical normal long rectangular board. And then we add these kind of dome pieces on top that are different as well. Yeah, good question. Linen Finish rulebook. Yeah, we're definitely looking at some of that stuff as well for sure. We want this to really feel like a deluxe luxe top shelf type of experience too. So again, there's the kind of the setup. Let me go back to being a full page there. And we won't stop on all this, but I just want to show you the visuals and how seriously we're taking this, how we represent this visually, whether that's through imagery and text combination, examples, but really excited about how we're doing this. You can see in the bottom here, this loot kind of neck. This is actually how we resolve things. You lay those out on the resolution board. But again, really excited about this. Matt and company did just a phenomenal job on laying this out. And then Cody Reimer did all the rules editing. And then Richard did just a phenomenal job as well with the rules. So between all these people together, it's just really working out to be just a gorgeous rule book that I think is easy to digest, even though it's a lot of information. It's a big rule book, but really has lots of great visual examples and gameplay examples as well. At the back, we have kind of a glossary for iconography and gameplay. And then on the very back, kind of like we did with Distilled, we've got some other stuff that you might find on player cards. Now, I should say that it's only one of 2 rule books. We have 2 rule books, people, kind of like we did with Distilled with First Taste. This time it's the rehearsal. So in Luthier, we are also going to be having something that is completely focused on helping people go through that very first round, walking them through that experience. Sarah asks, is it colorblind friendly? For sure. Not only is, it's hard. Well, I might show you in just a second, Sarah. Of course, we have the colors. Those are colorblind friendly, but also each family has a different crest. So you'll see that in a second here. In fact, probably pretty soon. The rehearsal is meant to help you be guided through the first round, learning how to play. I guess I don't show them right here. Actually, yeah, you can see them in the top corner of each one. The colors are different, but also the crest is different too. So again, this is kind of a narration. There's lots of words here, but remember what this is one person's narrating while everyone else is playing. You're teaching them how to play the first round of the game. You're holding their hand, telling them how to play. And then all the while when you're doing this, I'm going to skip to the bottom. Each of them have their own cheat sheet on a card, a separate card that tells them what to do too. So it's not just listening, but you're also able to read this and digest it in a small amount. So there's of course flavor text woven throughout there, largely thanks to Kevin, who's been doing all of our flavor text. He's a musicologist and consultant for the game. So really excited about the rehearsal that teaches players how to play the first round. For some of you that might be avid gamers, heavy gamers at that, you might not need this. But if you're trying to teach this to a new group that maybe loves music but doesn't really know much about games, that's why we've designed this. We've really tried to create something that is as accessible as possible. The other thing I want to point out is this also has the full solo rules in it. This solo game was designed by Richard Woods and David Digby, talks about the setup for the game, and then again walks you through the gameplay of the different rules for the solo game. So that goes through a couple different pages as well. We've got some blank pages still because we've got space left for as well. And then, like I said, on the back of this one on the rehearsal has the cheat sheets for each player, but the players are going to have that cheat sheet card as well. So just want to give you a little bit of a sneak peek into those 2 rule books. We've got the Luthier rule book, and then we've got the second book, which is the rehearsal and solo rules. So some exciting stuff there that, again, like you can see, we've really developed this. This stuff was not developed until months after the Distilled campaign. So like I said, we've been kind of quiet because we've been really working hard on getting this all ready. for all of you to be able to play at cons, you to see on previewers tables and so forth. A couple other things I want to show you, and then I'm going to be done for the night. I don't want to take too much time. Just thought it'd be fun for you to see. We've got things like our punch board. So we've already got punch board laid out. This is the top dome and the bottom market. You see this this baton. I saw people like Paulie, Tim, and even back last year, Liz and Tim, Demo, people trying to teach this game, especially in the rehearsal, and they kept reaching across and pointing to a different location. So what I decided to do was I decided to have, as a component in the game, telling people that there's going to be an actual baton, a punch-out baton, a conductor's baton, because you are the conductor when you run the rehearsal, that you're going to point to things on the game board. So it's actually, I don't know, I thought that was kind of fun that it's actually going to be a component in the game. That's kind of the Paverson Games way, is to kind of go above and beyond whenever we can, and this is one of those. The other one, yeah, Paulie, I figured you'd like that because you've been there, right? You've lived it. This summer, Paulie, this will be there. We'll have that. The other thing you'll see there is this little violin. Now, again, I don't know. I don't have to do this, but I'm just someone who, let's see if I can find it. Sorry. I'm just someone that likes to add these little Easter eggs into the game. Let's see if you can see this. Sorry, I'm giving people a shock here. So I decided to have this thing that says, "Did you lose the game? Don't worry. There's a prize for that too. It's the world's smallest violin, and it's playing just for you." So I'm gonna have a little small violin punch out that the loser of the game gets to pose with and play that violin. I don't know. I just thought this would be kind of fun too. So these are not gameplay components, but they are going to ship in every freaking game because I love this stuff. So that's an example of kind of what the player board looks like. The backside of the player board, really no different. Just different snaking ways for the rounds. We've got different punch boards. You can see the different Luthier families. These are how the awards are stated, these cupolas. And you can see a couple different ones there. And again, just to show you an example of what the punch boards look at. Here's the retail punch board. Now, we are going to do two different game versions for Luthier. We're going to do one on the Kickstarter that's going to basically be the deluxe version. And then we're going to have a retail version, because that was one thing I just want to state that if I could go back in time for Distilled, I would have made a retail version. Not everyone has $80 or $90 to be able to spend on a game. And that really drove home to me after I released the game and realized that not everyone can afford that. And so what I want to do here is make something that's a little bit more affordable too. So we are going to have a retail version. Everything's going to be the same. There's not going to be any like exclusive gameplay inside the deluxe version. Obviously, with the Kickstarter, we might have a couple things that are bonus promos like we did with Distilled, like promo packs external, but inside the game, it's the same gameplay. But for the deluxe version, we're going to do a lot of wood, a lot of screen printed wood. And for the retail version, a lot of it will be punch board. So this is where you'll see a lot of that punch board that would be found in the retail version that you don't really need to worry about right now. But I thought it'd be fun to show you all that different stuff as well. I showed you the player boards before, but I'll scroll through those really quick. Here's the backside. That's the solo version. Each one, like I said, each player. Oh, here you go, Sarah. On the top left, you can see this. It's yellow, but then there's a crest that shows you that family's crest. And those are on the top of the worker chips as well. So each one is has some different stuff, some different fun stuff on it too, including a Baroque spoon like we see right here. Some cool, what's it called? Pearl inlay kind of flowers there too. So Vincent's done an amazing job with this stuff for sure. All right, let's see. Main board really quick. I won't go into too much detail, but you can see it's very big. It's got a lot of stuff going on. You're laying out lots of cards. You're placing instruments in the middle of this pit. Same thing with the resolution board. This is where you're going to be placing chips down as well. So lots of thought, lots of hard work went into every little detail. I really want to make this as beautiful of a game as possible. An exquisite experience is something we're always going for with Paverson games as well. And again, I hope you'll agree with me that so far we're really headed in that direction, creating that authentic, rich, exquisite experience at the table. It's going to teach people things. It's going to help people appreciate something like, in this case, music and history a little bit more too. And like I said, Luthier is going to be launching on Kickstarter on July 16th. So with that, that's all I got. I went through a lot of stuff, probably maybe divulged a little too much, but I don't care. I love sharing this with all of you. And hopefully you can start to kind of spread the word about how fun this is going to be. I'm just so excited. I've got don't worry, I didn't show everything. I've got some ideas and some things I'm working on for the campaign as well. That'll be fun, especially for our backers. So it's going to be a fun time for sure. I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in tonight. This has been a lot of fun, seeing your comments come up. And then as well as I want to thank people like Vincent and Matt for all the visuals that they've been working on, as well as Richard and David and Kevin and Cody. Seth, as we speak, Seth Berry has been working on a new TTS mod. I'm hoping next month I'm going to get a chance to debut that. And that's going to be a public mod for anyone who uses Tabletop Simulator. That'll be available for you to try out as well. Dave Hutchins, I think, is actually, he's right here. Dave is going to help us with the Tabletopia mod too. So we've got a lot in store, allowing you to get a chance to be able to see it or play it for yourself in person or online, or again, like I said, sharing it with a lot of previewers too. So again, I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight, showing your sorry, I had to go from Dave to Sugar. Oh man. Yeah. So we are currently working on putting distilled into BGA, and Sugar Circuit right here is the one that's making that happen. It's gorgeous so far. Anyone that wants to do participate in the beta, hop on over to our Discord, and we're doing that. So feel free to hop on over. We're doing beta testing for the BGA version of distilled. And yes, I am hoping he's going to help me with getting this onto BGA as well. So again, thanks everybody. Slanja, to all of you out there, thanks for your support. Again, I couldn't do this without you. And just in a couple months, we're going to be hopefully getting this up online, celebrating again. And before you know it, I'm hoping you're going to have this on your tables and get to play it as well. So Slanja, everybody. Have a good night.